Hello, I'm Matthew Flagler. You might remember me from such educational films as Lead Paint, Delicious and Dangerous. And here comes the metric system. I'm here today to give you the skinny on people pies, thereby completing my plea bargain with the good people down at Walmart. You know, as an interesting aside, but when Miley Cyrus is naked and licks a hammer, it's called art. But when I do it, I'm drunk and have to leave Walmart now. So right about now, you're probably saying, Matthew, I've seen every people pie video on YouTube. There's nothing new that you could show me. Well, you've got some attitude, mister. But for the rest of you, let's get started, shall we? So this doesn't have to be a complicated affair. You don't have to be a baker or some kind of master chef. It could be simply a matter of 2 pre-cooked pie shells and a can of pie filling. Now my suggestion to you is that you use something very red because it does look like blood and guts and sinew, right? So I'm talking about perhaps raspberry, cherry, strawberry, bumbleberry. Today I've used strawberry rhubarb. Not only looks disgusting, but tastes delicious. And I've already put the pie filling into the shell. Now when you're baking a pie, a lot of times you have to cover that top completely over to seal everything in, but we're trying to create a spooky effect here, so you don't have to do that. And in fact, I'm going to cut this because what I'm going for is something maybe like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or maybe Ed Gein, where I've literally peeled the skin of somebody's face off and put it onto this pie. So in order to create that skin, I'm going to actually have to cut this. And so I'm going to cut this and take a bunch of extra out. And this doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's fine if it's sort of all jagged and misshapen because it's somebody's face that we've peeled off here, right? But in doing so, we've created a lot of extra dough here. And this extra dough can be used to create something spooky. Now, one of the first things that we might want to create here is a nose. Now, of course, if you're Elmo, that's a good nose, but it doesn't look very realistic, right? So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to slide this in and push this up and make this look like a human nose, right? Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going in a pie. So I'm just taking some excess dough off here. I'm just trying to create a nose. And I'm going to use this little flute to put and flare some nostrils in there, even. And you'll see the effect of that later. And then I'm just going to place it somewhere in the center of this pie. Then, of course, I'm going to want to take some dough, and I'm going to sort of roll this, and I'm going to create what later, I hope, is sort of an eyebrow. And you'll see why I did only one eyebrow in a minute. But for the rest of it, we're simply, okay, I'm going to cut a slit in this one for an eye. I'm going to cut the eye out of this one. And again, you'll see why I only cut one eye out in a minute. And then I'm going to actually create some lips here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve this so that I can actually roll this. I don't know if you can get this, but I'm going to roll this up to create like a bottom lip, okay? And you'll see the effect of that a little bit later. Then I'm simply going to take this whole hot mess here and I'm going to put it on top of the pie. All right, and you can see again the nose is starting to come into play, and this eyebrow and the mouth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush on some blood, right? Around the eyes. I'm going to brush on and on the lips, right? And just make this as best you can a bloody mess. All right, so the last step that I have to do is I have to get this nose out because I want to protrude those nostrils that I had from before. So I'm going to flute this again to make the nostrils more pronounced. And I'm going to take and put some blood coming out of that nose. And this guy is not a happy camper. You can certainly even take some of this dough and you can roll it up if you want and create a more pronounced lip there. Like he's actually got some swelling happening because he's been beat up. And this is what we were going for here, this raised sort of eye. And it's already starting to look a little bit freaky. If you want to make the mouth bigger, you want to make it into a frown, you can do that. He looks unhappy. This doesn't have to be perfect. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this on top of a cookie sheet and I'm going to put it in the oven according to the pie fillings suggested cooking time, and we'll be back again as soon as this creation is done. All right, so let's see if it's done. We just pop the oven, make sure you're using your oven mitts. And we have a sort of semi-creepy looking pie here. So we'll just get a close-up on there and have a look-see. And you can see that the stuff is bubbling. So that's it in a nutshell, a people pie.